Hi guys! Guess where we are again? Yes, we're back at Elk Island for another snowy walk. Don't worry, we've already paid our dues and we have a parks pass. It looks like we're in for a good day with bright sunny skies. We had trouble picking, but we settled on the Tawayik Lake Trail. I've been meaning to do this shout out for a while, so here we go. Time for Date of the Week! I'd like to give a big shout out to Nick and Jill of Generation Explorers for their fun hiking videos. I also enjoy it when they visit the steampunk festivals. If you haven't checked them out, well, then check them out. We made a quick loop around the Bison loop and found a few bison grazing in the snow. It was great seeing the well-insulated bison finding the grasses hidden under the snow. As you can see, they used their heads to shovel the snow to one side. There's a longer clip on our Patreon page, so if you want to see that, feel free to visit and consider supporting us. We headed on our way, leaving the bison to continue feeding. We reached the parking lot for Tawayik Lake Trail. We got our cleats on and prepared for our hike. So, we are going to walk down to Lake Tawayik, which is off to the right over here. And it is about -20. Oh, there's a bison grazing right over there. There you go. It's right over there, if you can't see it. In the shade. You'd think he'd be in the sunshine. He's got snow on his bum. I decided to zoom in on the bison with the patch of snow on his bum. I cannot see that at all. The screen was impossible to see in the bright sunlight, and I was sure the bison was not visible. There we go, now you should be able to see that for sure. Just maybe 100 meters away. Let's do the thumb test. Oh, we are definitely at a safe distance. That is good. He's very unbothered and by himself. I'm sorry to say I did it again. I forgot to zoom out. Yeah. It's a nice drive in. Very crisp looking morning. And we even saw some elk. A couple of big bulls and some other elk, female elk, I guess. But they were all at the edge of the fence as well. We were driving, so we couldn't really stop. So, but, yeah, nice morning. Oops. Beautiful. It's a nice frosty morning, and kind of reminded at the trailhead that I guess you're not allowed to have any dogs on here, regardless of whether it's on a leash or not. So that means all of the pawed prints that we see would belong to Coyote. interesting, but I guess something to be mindful of if you are bringing a four-legged friend to Elk Island, that some of the trails aren't welcoming of dogs. But, yeah, this one I don't think we'll be able to do the whole trail, but we're gonna head down to, hopefully, the open plain area, just to kind of see what we can see there. And if we get chilled before then, which we might, we're kind of already chilled, we might have to turn back a little sooner than that. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. And just like last time too, we have some urine mixed with blood, so the coyotes are still in estrus. So, yeah. It may look a little bit gross, but it's a fact of the natural world. Coyotes go into heat in mid-February so they can give birth to pups in the spring. As they traverse their territory, they urinate and leave traces of blood along with it to indicate to the male coyotes that they are ready to mate. For us humans, with our limited sense of smell, we continued to walk through the seemingly unscented landscape. There's some more 3 bison off in the distance over there. It was interesting that as we went along the trail, we continued to see more bison. In the distance, I could see the long white band that was Tawayik's snow-covered ice. Lyndon was vlogging as he walked, but being behind him and with the crunching snow, I couldn't understand a word. Yeah, you can see a few more bison out there, right off center there, and then there's our 3 over there. Lots of bison in the area. Very cool. Very nice morning. And then of course you could see the lake Tawayik, all frozen, all white. The surface of these birch trees shone brightly in the morning light. And on the opposite side of the trail, I admired the snow's surface, glittering like diamonds. And not to be forgotten, sometimes the trail right ahead was blinding. Of course, I can't forget the variety of tracks in the snow, often crossing the trail and heading into the forest. We reached the first open area. This trail is good for its markers on either side, which help guide you across. We crossed the sea of snow and grass. The blue shadows showed off the still waves, shaped by the wind. There is another delight to be found in this field. Hope you can see it, but there's a little bit of diamond dust in the air out in the open. So of course that's when it's cold enough for the moisture in the air to crystallize and form little ice or snow particles. There are lots of bison out today. This is another herd way off in the distance, just around there. I found a better angle to view the bison. And this is the same herd again, a little further down the trail. Some of them seemed aware that we were passing through the area. I am quite sure we were the first people down the trail this day, and we were rewarded with a lot of sightings. Kind of interesting, right after that last clearing, it looks like a lot of people either just turn around and go back or whatnot, because the trail has become a lot less well packed. But yeah, that's kind of what we found on a number of trails, is that it seems like after about 5 kilometers or so, a lot of people turn around and head back. I also took a moment to laugh at myself. Turned into a bit of more of an old woman today. Some proof that some people do cross-country ski through here. Violet poop. No wonder they make chocolate-covered whatever's. Call them loose poops.
Should I eat some? They look like hazelnuts.
They do kind of. Or truffles.
Surprise.
Maybe we're getting hungry. And maybe a little delirious in the snow. We are almost there to the field. Looking forward to seeing what might be over the hill. There is nobody nearby, but I'll have to step here. You can see it. Yeah. Well, stagger a little bit closer. But there is a herd of bison way off over there. Over the hill. Nothing to be too concerned about. Unless if we decide to go to the other side of the trail. So the exit point is going to be over there.
Yeah, I was kind of game for the whole trip, but I see we've only gone about 5.2 kilometers, and the trail is running out.
Yeah.
So I would say, let's go to the high point there, where those poplars are. You know, and then see if we can get a closer look at them, and just get a look back around here too.
Yeah, that's true. See what's at the Little Tawayik.
You know, we've come here. I
Yeah.
got the bars warming in my mitt.
By bars, he means
with a
granola
hand
bars.
warmer. Yeah, gold bars. I got gold bars in my mitt. Yeah, keeping them warm because it'll be rock hard. But yeah, it's a long trip as it is with the in the summertime.
Yeah.
And if the trail had stayed good, I would have said, oh yeah, let's go for it. It's a good day, but
Yeah.
it's starting to, well, look at it.
Ooh.
There's barely a trail there right now.
Nobody's been on it.
No, it's funny because you can see it. Like, you look here, at the top of the hill, you can still see a bit of a trail. And then we come here, and it just, nothing. It just stops right here.
Probably because, again, people are probably taking a look and then,
Well, we've seen that in the summer.
yeah.
We've seen the same thing in the summer when we were over there taking a video of the kestrels.
Yeah.
It's like they come here, and then they turn around.
Yeah. It's like they,
And I see more animals here than human now.
yeah.
Yeah. How's your knee?
Fine. They're fine. I'm glad it's warmed up, though, because that was pretty brutal at the beginning with that minus 20 or something.
Yeah. But you would agree another probably 10 kilometers, 9 kilometers is a bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So let's do that. Let's go to that little bluff up there, and
Okay.
we'll turn around. Yeah, we're losing the trail.
Yeah, we're losing the trail because other people have lost the trail.
Yeah.
That seems to be a more common route though, but that would lead us straight into the Bison too.
Yeah, I think there's only one set of prints or
Yeah.
stuff.
Proof that we are on the correct trail in quotation marks. Old marker. Oh. Just gonna turn this around here for a second. It is a vast landscape of white. Nothing around me except, well, some trees and a heck of a lot of snow. Pretty amazing. So, just for frame of reference, Tawayik Lake is off that way, and then I guess during the springtime it'll melt and it will kind of form a bit of a little creek, I guess, if you want to call it that, and it'll drain down into Little Tawayik over there. And then of course the main Yellowhead Highway is on the other side of that. You can kind of hear that in the distance. But I do not see any other herds of bison and no elk. There is quite the herd over there. You can just see them all along. Knowing that my Olympus doesn't have the zoom, I pulled out the Nikon. That's where they hang out, I guess. This herd is affectionately called the mother herd by park staff. I've mentioned before that the bison are used to help repatriate bison into other parks, but you might wonder, where did these bison come from? In fact, the bison were brought here from Montana in 1907. The bison herd was raised by two mixed-race indigenous men, Michel Pablo, who was half Blackfoot, and Charles Allard, who was half Cree. They purchased a herd of 13 bison, and when Allard died in 1906, they had about 300 bison. The U.S. government had plans to further open the land to settlers, and Pablo attempted to negotiate for land for his bison. Unhappy with the offer of 1/10 of the land he would need for them, he sold the herd to the Canadian government as they were working on setting up a park around Wainwright. By that time, there was about 700 bison, and it took 90 cowboys about 5 years to round up the bison to be transported by train. It was enjoyable taking some time to watch them, even if I mostly only saw their backs. Looking around, I saw a huge nest in the distance, possibly an eagle's nest. Looking back, Linden was nicely framed with Little Tawayik Lake in the background. Neither of us had brought tripods, so he had braced himself against a tree. I, on the other hand, took a slightly more relaxed approach. It was definitely a first for me, lying in the same field as the bison. It was time for a snack.
Okay, so keeping it warm with a hot pack.
What's in there?
I cannot grab my hot pack. There. Okay,
Magical mitts.
two granola bars. Hopefully softer. Hopefully decently soft.
I'm sure it'll be fine. As an FYI, it's nearly impossible to open a granola wrapper with gloves on.
Go around.
and the hot packs did help a bit. That is a face mark. You can see it's a bit old, but you can see the tracks kind of came up, and then the big head, whoop, whoop, and then bunch, 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 and then off they went. And you can also see in other spots, there's more face marks over there. By face marks, I mean they're just using their heads to push the snow to the side. We headed on our way back and had a few more sightings of bison through the trees. Box over here. Over here. The one closest to us had heard us coming, and she was alertly keeping an eye on us. Distance. Although we were theoretically at the edge of the safe distance, she decided to move away a little as I walked along the trail. As she turned away, I noticed her sides were quite wide, so she might be almost ready to give birth to a calf in the coming weeks. At the lookout point. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bison out there now. We had started out with minus 20-degree temperatures, but the sun had warmed things up to almost 0. Although we had decided to only go halfway down the trail, it was still an amazing morning. I hope you enjoyed seeing our walk to Tawayik Lake. As always, thanks for watching.